Paul Mescal, Mel C, Tom Grennan, Nick Grimshaw.
Were you a Spice Girls fan?
I mean, who wasn't?
Tattooing your friends at home during the pandemic.
Yes, on Amazon for £50.
How
And let
good
me
was
tell
that?
you, not good.
You know, brands like Blank Street Coffee approach you, brands like Red Bull, brands like Represent.
I've always found it hard to articulate those particularly negative feelings, and that's where the creativity and the art comes out, is when I'm not feeling good.
Welcome to Decode Sessions, the podcast where we unpack fashion and culture in a way so it's easy to understand for 70-year-olds and 7-year-olds alike. Today's episode is very, very special, and it has loads of interesting twists and even a little surprise at the end. So please listen all the way through. I promise you won't be disappointed. We are speaking to Tal Booker, the UK's most sought after tattoo artist at the moment. We are talking first and foremost about building a brand, which Tal has very successfully done in a very short period of time. And we are unpacking the key to having become as successful as he is, and what basically his secret sauce or his secret recipe for success is. You don't want to miss this. There's also a little extra piece about cheese. Let's start. Tal, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're sitting here in your own brand new Notting Hill studio. You had an opening party on Saturday.
We had an opening party on Saturday, and Monday was the first day of trading.
What does it feel like?
It's kind of not really sunk in yet. I think it's been such an intense year and a bit of kind of getting it all together that I've not quite hit the ground. But it's been amazing. The party was amazing. I think the sign of a good party is when things get broken, and we definitely had a few broken things.
Well, the photos looked really cool.
It was an amazing turnout.
I was on the verge of showing up, but I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna. It
was an amazing turnout, amazing crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of people that were just excited for us and happy to kind of see the growth of the business. So
I've seen all the comments. I mean, it's just genuine, like real. Proudness and happiness.
It's been really nice.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that, because that's generally what I hear about you. So I think that's very much part of your brand. But I wanted to just sort of to start at the beginning. We're not going to dwell too much on that, but just to kind of lay the foundation a little bit. So you, I wanted just to talk about your background and how your journey as an artist, how that began, because I've obviously read about it, but
I feel like I've always been an artist to some degree in various different kind of mediums. I was always drawing as a kid and kind of playing music and just quite a creative individual.
Were you always good at it?
I always had a knack for it. And that, along with, some guidance and some lessons and stuff, it always came quite naturally to me. And then, into kind of my late teens and early 20s, I was a graphic designer and kind of did that full time for various different brands and businesses. And then kind of found my way back to painting and drawing. And then tattooing kind of just became something that really interested me. It kind of started off the back of getting tattoos and really being in like a studio environment, and that's something that I always found super interesting, and the energy of a studio, and it's always somewhere that like everyone is welcome, and there's kind of all sorts of people and from different backgrounds kind of coming together in one space, which I always loved.
I don't know anything about this. I don't.
We know you don't.
I've done the piercings throughout the years.
It's similar.
Yeah, no, I guess, when I was a teenager in the 90s, I had a lot of piercings, and they would be done in tattoo studios. Yeah. But
it's definitely a similar thing, and it's just about kind of being creative within yourself, whether it's a piercing or a tattoo or the way that you dress. It's kind of the same sort of vibe, I guess.
Was that, and you're saying that's a vibe that you like, that kind of inclusivity, that everyone's welcome?
Definitely.
That sounds like a pub to me.
It doesn't sound like a pub to me.
No, but
I've never felt welcome in a pub.
No?
No. Maybe that's my own thing though. I don't know if that's the pub. I think it's more my internal.
I think
stuff.
that's probably not too, like, that's, a lot of people probably feel that way, but I think it's my culture being Swedish. Like, we don't have anything like that in Sweden. Like we socialize in a restaurant, or we go home and we socialize at home, but we don't have like that, place
like,
where people come together. I think that's what I'm referring to.
And
I think that's what you were referring to.
Definitely. A place where everyone's welcome, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you have to give. It's just somewhere that we can all kind of connect over creativity and our own story, whether that's, you know, a good thing or a bad thing or whatever it is you want to commemorate. It's just something that we can all do together.
And am I right in thinking that you, in a slightly clandestine way, bought a piece of tattoo kit and started tattooing your friends at home during the pandemic?
Yes, on Amazon for £50. And let me tell you, not good.
Have you seen those tattoos today?
Yes, they are terrible. I have some on my legs as well that I also did to myself. And it's always a nice reminder of kind of where I came from.
And that's when it started, so it's very recent.
I mean, it's hard to kind of put a date on it, but I tell people 4 years, because to me it feels like 4 years, but in truth, you know, professionally it's only been around 2.5 years.
So you were tattooing with your piece of kit from Amazon at home, and then out we come with the pandemic. And did you go and knock on Miles's and India's door and show them what you'd achieved with your kit?
I was still a graphic designer, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and I kind of had some issues in the workplace and really kind of hit a roadblock and a dead end in terms of my career and where I wanted to go. I felt very lost. I didn't know which way to turn. I knew that I wasn't happy in the kind of corporate 9 to 5 life. And my best friend Sophie, who's kind of seen me in various different points in my life, said, you should be a tattoo artist. And I said, you're mental. Someone like me doesn't just become a tattoo artist. And she was like, trust me, just go meet with this guy. And that's how I ended up at the London Social, and I've never left.
And this is how many years ago now? 4?
I'd say probably 3. Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Okay, that's amazing. It's happened really fast.
It has, yeah.
It's a lovely success story for those who probably feel a bit like you, like can't do it, and that's not for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I know that your inspiration, like yes, art is one of them, but what I find really fun is your sort of background in cartoons as well. Like, does that still inspire you?
Definitely. I think you look at, I take a lot of inspiration from the 90s, and just the sort of imagery, and whether it's Disney or Looney Tunes or Cartoon Network and all of that sort of stuff, I find really inspiring creatively. I think it was just a different time, and things were done so differently, and the kind of visual language was so different. And it's just not the same anymore with kind of the advancement of technology and illustration and all of that sort of stuff. There's just a lot of nostalgia there for me. Just brings me back to a really happy time.
But you also said something really interesting that resonated with me, and I'd never thought of it that way, but that you found it, that you feel like that kind of happy world that the cartoons represented, that also gave you a little bit of a false view on reality. Definitely.
I've never really thought about it too much, but I think as a kid, when you're so engrossed in these worlds that are kind of made and are so perfect, you kind of end up feeling like that is how life is, and obviously the older you get and the more life happens, you realize it's not. So it's always somewhere that I like to go back to, because everything was so kind of perfect then.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, what you were describing must be even worse today. I mean, we talk about this all the time, being the mother of a 7-year-old, and the kind of stuff that she consumes and what she sees, and where is that even going to go? I mean, I even said yesterday, I'm like, I don't want social media anymore. So one was hoping that it doesn't exist when she's a teenager. But it's our bread and butter. Definitely. It's also what pays the bills for us. So we're going to just stay on the whole kind of sort of mental aspect of things and how things make you feel, because I feel like art is a good vehicle for feeling differently, right? And I read your quote on Calm Zone, which we'll talk about in a minute, and I really, really like what you said. You said, what do I do when life feels a bit too heavy? I paint. I tattoo. Honestly, anything creative helps me breathe a little easier. It's those small things that pull me back when everything feels a bit much, finding the bits of joy that keep you going.
Yeah.
Tell me about your relationship between sort of creativity and mental health and feeling good, because I feel like this probably resonates with a lot of young people today, and like finding that vehicle for it all feels like what can I do when it just feels like too much.
I think for me it's always been so natural that it's just something that I do to feel better, and that's not necessarily because I think about it and I think, okay, what can I do to feel better? It's when I'm not feeling good, it's those things that I end up doing. And I think again it kind of goes back to being a kid and, you know, getting your crayons out and drawing and just kind of releasing that emotion and that energy that sometimes feels hard to articulate. And I think for me, I've always found it hard to articulate those particularly negative feelings, and that's where the creativity and the art comes out, is when I'm not feeling good. That's kind of what I end up doing, because it's a space where you don't need words, and you just kind of follow the journey of what your body and your mind is telling you to do, or telling me to do, and that is to just create something. And interestingly, it always ends up being words of some kind, but they're not necessarily words that I want to speak. They are words that I just want to be visual with.
This is a slight sidetrack, but when you're saying this now, like you're effectively an artist, and you choose to kind of go into your world, and you know, you talk about the words that you don't speak. But you're also like, you're an artist, you're painting on people. So you are with people all day long. So it's a very, and I know, I've heard from many people that come and see you, that they see you because of the person that you are. So you must be, you know, you're still talking to people whilst you're tattooing them, and you know, you're putting words on what you're doing.
Yeah, I think,
but in a different way maybe.
I think that socializing is not something I've ever been good at. And so becoming an artist and becoming an artist that people want to come and see has allowed me to be a person socially that for so long in my life I've always struggled to be. And it kind of, you know, if I'm, you know, standing at a bar or at a party or whatever, I really struggle to connect with people. But when I'm in my space and people come into my space and you know, I own that space, it's very much second nature, and it really kind of makes it a lot easier for me to connect with people. Whereas in the past and in other situations, I've struggled so much that actually it feels safe for me to connect with people, whereas some other places and in the world, it doesn't feel particularly safe. So when it's in my space and, you know, I know people are coming to me for me, it already gives me that green light.
Do you buy any cheese?
No, thank you. Bye.
Do we need any cheese?
I'm going to lock the door. She's done that before. She keeps trying to sell cheese.
I think we need to keep the cheese lady in the podcast.
Yeah,
but
I think the bottom line is that for me, this is my safe space, and when people are coming to my safe space, it allows me to be a much more grounded, vocal, calm version of myself. Really, which I struggle to be elsewhere.
Yeah. I love that. It's wonderful. I said we'd just touch on Calm Zone, and then we're going to move into tattoos and everything else.
Sure.
Calm Zone is
Calm Zone are a suicide prevention charity. They were originally started for men, and now they are gender inclusive. And their mission is to tackle suicide, really, as fundamentally as a very basic level. The most likely thing to kill a young person is themselves, and that is their mission, is to change that. And I've been working with them since I think February.
And that's obviously a partnership that matters to you for all the reasons that we just discussed.
Hugely important to me. Not only I've lost a close family member to suicide, and also, you know, in in my life I felt suicidal on various different occasions, and I just think it's really important. And you know, there's so much noise around mental health that actually, when we look at mental health, the kind of final destination with bad mental health is suicide, and that's the thing that I think we need to tackle.
No, that's very true. And like you're saying, there is a lot of noise around mental health at the moment, and it's almost a little bit of a trend.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of brand capitalizing on it.
Correct. Yeah.
And it becomes quite complicated to navigate.
Definitely. And really, you know, we need to say the word suicide. We need to use that word, and we need to say it for what it is, and that is what's killing our young people.
Especially with men, right? Because that's what's the most difficult to.
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move into the world of tattoos. So I already said, someone once told me that they come to you for who you are. I mean, effectively, what this girl said to me is, I have 7 tattoos, mostly because I love spending time with Tal. So you're obviously known for being warm, kind, and, you know, I guess creating a bit of a calm space.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but I'd love to hear it from you. Do you think that connection has played a part in your success?
Definitely. And it's kind of on purpose that that's happened, because there's so many talented artists out there. And when I was first starting out, I was, you know, very new to the industry. I had little to no bookings. I needed a way to kind of, you know, get people through the door. And I tried looking at other artists that were a lot busier than me and trying to think, how can I replicate what they're doing? And truthfully, the conclusion that I came to was that I can't replicate it. I just have to lean into who I am. And I take massive pride in connecting with my clients, and it's really important to me that they not only feel like they're coming to see someone trusted for their tattoo, but also trusted for their energy and their spirit.
So would you say you just relaxed into that in a way, and just sort of thought to yourself, okay, I'm going to be myself, and we'll see where that takes me.
Yeah.
And that authenticity and that sort of genuine like behavior.
Yeah.
It just built on that.
I think so, and not to kind of touch on the past as such, but I struggled to be authentic for a long time. And, you know, over the years and through the various work that I've done on myself, I kind of just leaned into the fact that the best things happen to me personally when I am authentic. And that's kind of just the road that I've taken, is that to be the most authentic version of myself. And that is not only sharing the good stuff, but also sharing the kind of hardships and the difficulties within my own personal life and the industry and the work that I do. And you know, I've always found that people want to connect with a person. They don't want to connect with a picture or an Instagram page. They want to connect to someone real. And so what I've found is the more real I am, the more people want to connect.
And it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two things for me. That gives me hope about the future, because you're not the first person saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Like many people that we have spoken to on this show who are influential for various reasons, they all say the same thing. It's because I've stayed true to myself, and whenever I tried to be something that I'm not, it didn't quite work.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as well that you're saying it, because I think it's what most brand builders and creative strategists like ourselves try and say to brands today, that, you know, gone are the days of sort of glossy surfaces and selling something to people.
Yeah.
But what it's all about nowadays is creating a connection with people and being authentic.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why some brands haven't survived into 2025, the year that we're in now, is because they haven't done that. Like, they've stayed with, you know, big celebrity endorsements and big shiny promises.
Yeah.
So we spoke about this yesterday in the beauty world, that there's so much going on in the beauty world right now that you don't see as much from those sort of luxury brands that we grew up with, that
Sure.
our mums used to use, and the brands that you still see in the tax-free in the airports,
Yeah.
but you don't, they've kind of been cancelled by a lot of, like, not cancelled, but like you're seeing a lot more nowadays, and I think young people are, it resonates more for them, the brands that have more kind of messaging that is closer to them, and this whole like glossy celebrity on the face of a campaign it doesn't quite cut it anymore.
Yeah, because I think people have gotten so used to the lack of authenticity that now when they see it, they really feel it, and that is what drives people to brands or people or businesses that are trying to do the same thing, is because for so long there was such a lack of it that now it's really quite noticeable when you find that thing that you kind of know that it's real. And people aren't stupid either, do you know what I mean? Like they know when someone's trying to be something that they're not, and it just doesn't resonate.
I mean, you are now one of the UK's most in-demand tattoo artists, and you've got a wait list that is you're booked out for months. And you've just explained to me how it started to happen, but how did it really happen? Like, when did you notice that, fuck, like I've made it? Like,
it's you know what, it's been a couple of years now that I've kind of I've been as busy as I am, and let me tell you, I meditated every single day for about 2 years, doing the exact same meditation, and I meditated for abundance, and I slowly started to feel that I was deserving of it, because at the beginning I didn't feel like I was deserving of it, and I laid on my bed before I did anything in the day and listened to these mantras and listened to the kind of the music and the speaking and stuff, and really visualized where I wanted to be within my work, and it slowly started to build, and I started to get booked up for a month, and then already taking bookings for the next month, and then that month would get booked up and stuff, and so it's been a journey of a few years now, but it's hard to realize when you're in it, because for me, if instead of worrying about November being busy or December being busy, I just worry about January being busy. And then when January gets booked up, I worry about February. So like for me, I never feel like I'm out of the woods, and I never feel like I've made it as such, because I think the person that I am is someone that's quite anxious and someone that's quite insecure, and I have these fears that it's all going to go away. And so I'm constantly chasing this busyness as such, but it's amazing, and I'm hugely lucky, and I'm hugely grateful, and it's not something that I ever take for granted, because there's so many talented artists out there that the people that come to see me can see anyone, and they choose to see me, and so that's something that I kind of hold very dear.
It's a pretty hot topic that you mentioned just there, and it's kind of the topic of like manifestation and believing in yourself, and believing yourself that you can do something will then project, is that the right word for it? And then you'll project to others that you are deserving of it, because a person who doesn't believe in themselves, people can smell that.
Sure.
So you've obviously given off this smell eventually of
and it's not something that comes naturally to me. I really had to work on it, and it was kind of something I did as a last resort, because I was so anxious and nervous around entering a new industry that I had nothing, no foot in the door, and I wanted to make an impact, and so I tried everything, and I landed on manifestation, and don't get me wrong, I'm the first person to say sometimes it's a bit of bullshit, but for me it really did work.
Well, it's not the sole avenue for anything.
No, there's a lot of hard work that goes into it as well.
And no one can sit there at home and meditate all day and think that they're going to become you.
Yes. But it gave me a lot of self-belief and a lot of courage and a lot of trust in the universe that, if I keep going down this path, and if I keep trusting myself and believing in myself, that the right thing, it might not be the thing that I want, but the right thing will come to me.
You.
Yeah.
And then there's social media.
And then there's social media, the bane of my life.
Did that play a role?
Massively.
How? Tell me. How have you worked with social media too?
So, in my time as a graphic designer, I also had kind of roles as brand manager and social media exec and all that sort of stuff.
So you understand this world.
I understand the world, and I understand what it's like to build a brand. And I really just looked at myself as a business, and I just went full throttle on pumping out content. And my view was, if I post a reel and it gets 500 views, even though that's not viral, that's better than not posting anything and getting 0 views.
100%.
So I was constantly posting, I was constantly pumping out content, and really just trying to build a community and connect with people. And you know, people message me all the time about stuff that's not to do with tattoos, but I will always take the time and respond, because that's how you build a community. And I don't necessarily see clients as clients. I also see them as people, as friends, as, you know, as part of what I'm trying to build. And, you know, without them, I'm nothing. So content.
Well, what I'm also hearing what I'm reading between the lines is also no pride. Because in art, I'm not saying like in that sense.
You are 100%
But in our
right.
industry, there's a lot of pride. I am not going to post that. I am not going to say that. I'm not going to respond to so-and-so because I have this value and which I need to maintain. But what you're just saying to me is that, you know, you just kind of let go of that.
And it's all about
again,
ego.
you're that pub.
Yeah.
You are the pub.
Yeah, and it's about ego and saying, you know what, I am no better or no worse than anyone else.
Probably a better word for it, ego rather than pride.
Yeah, I think it's about ego, and I think there is a lot of ego in the industry. You know, people don't want to post if they've got availability because they don't want to look like they've got they're not booked and busy or whatever. But this is my business, and I'm trying to run a business, and if I want people to come and see me, I have to let them know where I am and when I'm available.
Which has then resulted in you not only being a business owner and running a business which is, you know, tattooing people.
Yeah.
You are also now a business in yourself. Like you have 45,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which, you know, people with half of that following will call themselves influencers, and that will be their main jobs.
Sure.
But you've also achieved that.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine. You have an agent?
I'm with an agency, yeah.
So I could imagine that if you wanted that to be a job, it could be too.
It could be too, but I see I'm very protective over my tattooing brand because that is why people follow me to begin with. So I don't want to all of a sudden. I've dabbled in kind of outfit of the day and fit pics and all that sort of stuff, but it's just not who I am.
No.
My brand is real and it's honest, and it's, you know, it's fundamentally tattooing and what it looks like to be a busy tattoo artist and to be amongst a studio and to manage people and to build a business.
Well, I can also tell you, as someone who's, you know, booked talents for years and years and years for the biggest luxury brands in the world, that is what's going to get you those contracts, because you are a person who you have a following because of what you do, not for your outfits or for being an influencer. So I think the strategy that you've chosen is the right one. And then, of course, there will be, you know, interesting brand deals that come along, and you mustn't, you know, the ones that you want to do, you do them.
Definitely.
But again, your following will know when you do a Miu Miu project that that's because you love the brand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I hope to do a Miu Miu project.
I know.
Yeah.
I could imagine that.
Yeah, that would be a good one for me.
Yeah. Well, we'll make that happen then one day. Yeah. So, I mean, we sort of touched on brand partnerships, and you just told me that, you know, I think there's two sides to brand partnerships for someone like you. There's brand partnerships as an influencer, but then there's brand partnerships as a studio owner. And when I popped my head through the door the other day, you weren't here, and your business partners were just getting the studio ready, and I chatted to Miles, and he told me about the collaborations that London Social as a studio has had over the years, which I was, I didn't realize that, brands like Blank Street Coffee approach you, brands like Red Bull, brands like Represent, like there was something with UGG as well. And to me, it's just so, I came home and told my husband and his friends who were sitting around the dinner table, I'm like, it's so cool where this world has got to, that a coffee place is doing a partnership with a tattoo studio and
tattoos
offering
are everywhere
tattoos.
now. You can't escape the tattoo industry, whether you love them or you hate them. Your favorite celebrities, your favorite influencers, chances are they all have tattoos, and it's only getting bigger.
I love that you mentioned the famous people, because please can we talk about the most famous people that you've tattooed? You need to give me some. Give me some juicy stuff.
I don't know, I guess fame is subjective, isn't it? So
okay.
No, but I mean, you look at...
No, it's true.
Fame is subjective, but, on a broad scale, James Corden.
Yes.
Paul Mescal, Mel C, Tom Grennan, Nick Grimshaw, just people that I've always looked up to in their own field, who I think are super cool.
Were you a Spice Girls fan? I mean, even my 7-year-old, is a Spice Girls fan.
They're iconic.
I'm gonna go home and tell her that I met with the guy that tattooed. Is she scary? Mel C is scary.
No, Sporty Spice. Mel B is scary.
Mel B is scary.
We'll cut that bit out, just in case she watches it.
We'll keep all the shit that I say. It just shows my age, doesn't it? I mean, this is a bit of a boring question. Is there a unique body part? I mean, you got that. To me, the fact that you got the palms of your hands, like, does that hurt? Like,
it was beyond painful.
Really?
Beyond painful. Far more painful than I could have imagined. I'd say that was probably the most painful place. For anyone to get a tattoo. It's obviously quite a niche place. So
do they not talk to you then when you're tattooing their palms? Is that when they're not interested in hearing from you?
There's a lot of silence, and there's a lot of tensed bodies. But in terms of like kind of unique body parts, I've not done anything too crazy.
No,
not really. I'm looking forward to the day that I do.
Right, okay. But I'm guessing crazy can also be someone that does something really big. But I'm guessing, like, I've dated some tattooed guys over the years, and they had some big pieces, but which they had to return for.
Big tattoos.
Then you have to come back over several days, right? You can't do it all. What is the maximum length of time that you can tattoo someone for before it's like, or is that not like controlled?
I don't think it's controlled. I think it's up to the person, like depending on how much pain they can handle.
So they can sit down there for 10 hours if they knock themselves out.
Absolutely.
Have you met someone that's done that?
I've sat for 9-10 hours, 2 days in a row.
What did that?
Something on my back. Yeah, with a friend of mine that did it for me. That was painful. The second day, when the body starts to recover a little bit and everything's a bit raw, that's not fun.
This is why I've never had a tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet.
So tell me about your community. I love the fact that you're nurturing that community and building your friendships with those people that reach out to you. Who are they?
They are everyone and anyone. There is really no specific demographic, I don't believe. I think the common denominator is people that are looking to connect with someone. They don't just want a rush job. They don't just want someone to be a yes man and say, I don't care where it goes. I don't care how big it is. I think one of the things that I pride myself on is whether I've just met you or known you for 10 years, I will always give you my honest opinion, whether I think it's a good idea or not. Some people listen, some people don't. But I think a lot of people are always very surprised about how direct I am when I don't think something's a good idea. Something's a good idea.
Have you turned people away? Or like maybe changed their mind more?
I definitely changed their mind for sure, because I carry my work with me. My work doesn't just end when I leave the studio. I lay in bed at night and think about it. If I've done something that I wasn't super comfortable with, or something that someone, didn't make the best decision, or I tried to push them in one direction and they went another. You know, these things stay with me. So I try and do the best by my clients, and I think that's the common denominator of what the people that come and see me are looking for, is someone that's real.
Yeah, and they can probably feel that.
Yeah.
Where do you think this industry is going? If we had if we were to see 10 years in the future, is it only going to grow?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's only going to grow. I think we might see a change in the style of tattoos. I think fine line is always going to be a thing, and it's going to continue to grow.
And that's your thing, right?
Yeah,
it's always been your thing.
Yeah, it's going to continue to grow, but I think we might see a resurgence in kind of traditional tattooing, and more old school styles kind of come back around. But there's absolutely no reason why the industry is not just going to keep growing and keep getting better, and there's so many talented artists coming through the ranks, and
it'd be cool to see an exhibition from you in the future.
That would be cool.
Like an amazing photography exhibition.
Would be cool. I need to get better at taking photos, but yeah, that would be cool.
Given that I'm 46 years old and I've dodged every single bullet that's been shot at me in terms of trying to convince me to do a tattoo, why would I get one?
Why wouldn't you?
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you liked what you heard today, please follow us on Decode Sessions on Spotify, on Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere.